The #1 running back in Montana history is also one of the greatest success stories in Montana history. The greatest 8-man football player of all time in Montana turned arguably the greatest running back to ever don a Montana Grizzly uniform, topping the MT Top 40, former Drummond standout, All-American, and NFL player Chase Reynolds.
High school football built that hard work inside of me that I never tried to be complacent. I never was satisfied with just winning a game. Never was satisfied with the record of the year before. And I think that whole team we were built like that. You enjoy it, but you're always trying to get better.
Chase Reynolds and his teammates guided Drummond to 35 straight wins, including 8-man state titles in 2003, 2004, and 2005. The Montana High School Association credits Reynolds with being the state's 8-man record holder, 5,261 rushing yards, as well as 114 touchdowns. A 4-time All-State selection, he also nabbed letters in basketball and track and field.
I didn't even know I could play college level. I mean, we talked about it. Not that I didn't think I was good enough, but I just thought what was best for me was a small school. I mean, that's what I was told and what I'd heard and what I thought was best. So Coach Howe came to a football game in Drummond, and I was like, wow, I have an opportunity to play in front of these guys. And I think I had a decent game, but was no means my best game. And I kind of left it at that. I was like, I don't know. I didn't have a very good game. That's probably blew my shot. My dad was, he mentioned to me, don't regret making decisions. Don't go play at Carroll and Tech or somewhere there and have a good career and look back and go, man, I bet I could have played, at one of these, bigger colleges. So that moment for me was kind of like go big or go home, and it really was.
Chase talked about that a few different times, that he really felt that as he entered into college, he said, I didn't expect to go to college and play football, really. And Chase got married while he was still in high school, which was a real challenge to him being able to continue his athletic career, really. And he said, he told me a few times, he said, I thought I might be lucky if I got to go to Carroll or Tech or Western. And he said, when I got the opportunity to come to Montana, I wanted to prove that I could play with anybody, as far as the competition that he was going to face at the University of Montana.
Chasing big dreams made Reynolds a fan favorite with Grizz Nation. After redshirting in 2006, then spending time at receiver in 2007, Reynolds was in the mix for the starting job after the graduation of Lex Hilliard.
I kind of started to realize that I maybe had a chance to be the starting running back spring ball my sophomore year. We were battling. There was 3 of us. There was Thomas Brooks Fletcher, Andrew Schmidt, and me. And I was kind of the bottom guy. I mean, I was the youngest one, had the least experience, just got moved back from wide receiver. So a lot not in my way, but I started to kind of have these plays through spring ball, and I was trying to run hard. I was trying to run everybody over and just run into everybody, and just how tough can I be? And I think Bobby kind of saw that a little bit, and I think he tried to see how tough I was. I mean, because I remember in practices and stuff, I mean, I would be tired and sick, and he just, you're up. And I think it was a little bit of a test. So, I think I passed that. But my first game, I started the first game my sophomore year. Won the starting spot. First play from the line of scrimmage, I trip. I lose 3 yards. That game's a total mess. I get benched. I mess up special teams, which Bobby's coaching at the time. I hate football at this point. I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. Andrew Schmidt goes on and rushes for 3 touchdowns, 150-some yards, and I'm like, it's over. I worked hard, but luckily I had a second chance, and then that was about 3 games in. Was that moment where we were playing a small college. I ended up having 3 touchdowns, and at that moment, just things were going good. I ran hard. I had a good game, and that's when I kind of realized, I got to keep this up. I got to win the starting job back, and from that point on, was just I just kept rolling. So
Reynolds carried the momentum into a 281 carry, 1,583 yard season, scoring a single-season record 22 touchdowns, helping Montana to the FCS National Championship game. A season later, he would tally 1,502 yards and 22 more touchdowns, the Grizz once again making an appearance in the FCS title game. Those 2 seasons, 08-09, two of the best in the Montana Grizzly record books.
Yeah, just pinball, man. I was a little guy. I think what I used to my advantage, I think people thought I probably underestimated me a little bit. I was pretty small for a college running back. But the thing I always told myself was nobody would out-tough me. I guess I approached the running back as you've got to tackle me, and at the end of this fourth quarter, you're going to want to stop, and I'm going to keep going. So that was my whole approach in football is I'm going to wear you out before I wear out. And that's kind of how I ran my high school career, my college career, my professional career. I just, I'm not stronger than a lot of people, but I think I'm tougher than a lot of people. So I try to teach my son there's a difference between strong and tough, and you can be tough. And that's kind of that was my approach to football, is just wear the other guy out.
After 982 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2010, Reynolds finished his career with 4,067 rushing yards, just 3 shy of Yo Humphrey's program record. Reynolds also left Montana with 52 touchdowns. That's number 1 all-time as a Grizz. He earned dozens of honors, Walter Payton Award finalist, All-American, and a trio of all Big Sky Conference accolades.
He showed up every day. He wasn't anything real special to look at. If you saw him in his street clothes, you wouldn't know that was Chase Reynolds that just rushed for 220 or 185 yards, or was a second leading rusher in the history of the University of Montana. Would have been the leading rusher if I had any sense at all, and took him out of a game towards the end of the season. And I think Johansson ended up having 7 more yards or 6 more yards or something than Chase did. And to this day, I apologize to him for that. And all Chase did is look at you and say, I'm not about records, I'm about it being a team guy.
It's cool. The best part is that I can reach out to kids that are at a small town, at a small high school, and know that it's possible, guys. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but the thing I try to use to my advantage is to let these kids know that their future is in their own hands. I look at those guys. I mean, I think Lex and Humphrey and all them guys, I think they're probably better running backs. I had good guys that blocked for me. I had good teammates. We had great coaches. By no means do I think those records are mine. I think they're a team record. I just happen to have my name on there. And but the teammates and the guys that were in the locker room, down grinding on the field, it speaks volumes of those guys too. So
when Bobby hired me, they were talking about, what are we going to do with Chase and so forth. And I think maybe they'd given him a couple, reps in the fall on the scout team at running back and so forth. But, they said, well, let's move him to running back. And gosh, I was just so excited about that. Because I had watched tape on him as a high school young man when I was coaching at Colorado State, and he just jumped out even though he was from such a small school. And we did not recruit him at Colorado State, but he was a guy that we probably should have at that time. And very fortunate when I was at CSU. I think I had 9 running backs that ended up playing in the NFL, and then getting Chase. And watching him, he was as good as any of the kids we had.
Reynolds joined the Seattle Seahawks as an undrafted free agent in 2011, but was waived and signed with the St. Louis Rams. He spent 5 seasons with the team. That included their move to Los Angeles, starring mainly on special teams, but managing to stick on the roster, doing a little bit of everything.
Diverse. You do everything. I never long snapped the ball till I got to the NFL. Guess what? I learned how to long snap. I learned how to hold. I learned how to, I played defense. I scouted on the defensive team. I played wide receiver. I played everything I could, just because there's a niche that you got to find. And there's, guys like us are a dime a dozen. That you go there, what can you do? You're a decent running back. But what value do you have to the team? And I think my value was I could do everything. You needed a guy to play this position. Hey, I can do it. Even if I couldn't do it, I said I could do it. And again, it comes back to toughness. That's what a lot of the guys, look at Tripp, you look at Colt, those guys that did have success. They're all tough guys, and they've grinded through injuries, and they've grinded through, practices after practice, and extra work. And that's a name Montana has, and that's not because of me. That's not because of, it's because a combination of, 15 years of people working hard from the state of Montana. And it's a blessing to go there and tell somebody you're from Montana, and they go, okay, you know, they got that little bit. You're a tough guy, aren't you? And you know, that's what comes with being a Montana guy, which is cool. But you have to uphold that, and you have to be that you know, what them guys built 10, 15 years ago, and you got to keep going. So it's pretty neat.
From Drummond to the Big Show, Chase Reynolds, #1 running back in Montana's history. But there's plenty of other names to toss around in your honorable mentions. That has guys like Frontier Conference players Chance Demery, Dan Rambo of Carroll College, Nolan Saraceni, and Don Heater at Montana Tech. You can find more on those guys, specifically the video, at montanasports.com. Grindy, Jones, Kirk, Lester, Popovich, Robinson, Schulte. Plenty more on your honorable mentions at montanasports.com. Chase Reynolds, of course, one of the few Class C 8-man guys on our list on the MT Top 40, but we can't forget about the 6-man guys as well. We're compiling a list of just the best 6-man players after chatting with some coaches, past and present. Think of names currently like the Westby Granoras, the Olsons, Jeremiah Payne. How about Trevor Parro, Dave Cross, some of the Hot Springs Savage Heat? And you could make a list of Geraldine and Highwood or Geraldine Highwood, just right there with the rivals, the Mountaineers and the Tigers. Names like McGowan, Owen, Bond-Miller, Malik, McKinley. The list goes on and on and on. Rhett Young up there and Augusta in there. Denton's Cole Jelnick, a 2-time state champion as well. We've got more on the best 6-man players. The MT Top 40s. Look at the little guys. You can find that, some stats on those guys right now at montanasports.com as well. Quarterbacks will cap our MT Top 40 countdown next week. #1 will be unveiled on Friday the 24th. We'll have a little something special for you there as well. It's the first day of high school football games in Montana. Richie Melby, MTN Sports.